All right, sometimes we're going to be asked to find the solutions of unfamiliar equations. So in this situation, we're for sure using our calculator. And notice that in my expression, my equation here, I only have x's. So in the end, my solutions are only the x values of my points of intersection. So to find the points of intersection, I'm going to graph the left side and the right side separately. Well, that left side is the same from our first example, so I'm just going to leave that in there. The right side, I want to make sure to have everything in my numerator denominator. So I can either put in a fraction or I can use parentheses. So I'm going to graph 2x squared, close my parentheses, divide by, and I want to divide by the whole expression x minus 1. Okay. So now I'm going to look for my points of intersection. With points of intersection, again, I could use my table of values to help me. So I want to see where x and y are the same. So I first of all see that they're the same at 0, 0. That's going to be one point of intersection. The question is whether I'm going to have another point of intersection. Well, I see on this side that my values are growing really fast, really quickly. On this side. Up here I'm already at 2 million, whereas this side's only at 22. If I look at the negative side for x's, I can see that for this graph, my right-hand side, those values are negative, these values are positive. It tells me that they're never going to intersect. To get just a slight picture of what I've got, I could zoom and say zoom standard, which just gives me a negative 10, 10, negative 10, 10 window. And now I can see that little bump more clearly from my first graph. Here's my second one. And we can see there is a second point of intersection. So right at the beginning, near x equals 1, we do have a second point of intersection. So we know our first point of intersection was 0, 0, because we saw that in the table. So this point here was the point 0, 0. So that's one of our points of intersection. Now we want to find this other point. So I'm going to go in and say calc, intersect. So my first curve is the blue one, my second curve is the pink one, but this time my guess is around the value x equals 1. All right, so x equals 1 was a bad choice because when I plug in 1, that's where the asymptote is for this graph. If I plug in 1, I'm dividing by 0. So let's quit that and try again. So I'm going to calc my point of intersection. So x equals 1 is my asymptote. So it must be to the right of x equals 1. So this time I'm going to guess like 1.1 or 1.2. So first curve, yes. Second curve, yes. And now this time I'm going to guess 1.1. Here's my point of intersection at x equals approximately 1.46. The y value doesn't matter so much. It's at about 9.2. But when I write down the solutions, my solutions are going to be x equals 0 or x equals, and it's not exactly equal, so I'm going to use my approximate sign, 1.46. So this one was exact, this one is not, and I'm giving my answer to 3 significant figures.